Got Fino, one of the most powerful players in the world right now, and then just them padded out with two players that I'm sure are absolutely fantastic as well. But let's just get into game number one.
Okay, let's forget any conversation we were having about who's favourite here. Lucas has Mana Worm, Primordial Glyph, Cinderstorm, Fireball as a curve presented to him in that very order. Things are looking like a pretty okay start here.
Yeah, and the mulligans for this kind of matchup do get a little bit weird because Aggro Mage, I believe Saul was mentioning, not the most popular deck until this tournament, if that makes sense?
This week, yeah.
Yeah, and how you then mulligan against such a weird deck that Death Rattle Hunter is right now is very questionable. You know, a lot of people are talking about the Death Rattle Hunter mulligans, but what about all the other classes that have to deal with these openings? And that is a pretty good opening as well.
Oh
Candle
my
shot
goodness.
into Devil's Sword and play dead, but you could actually, instead of playing dead, just be dead by turn 4 anyway, so it's still a little bit risky.
You know what, forget about what I said about Lucas's hand. He clearly didn't like it very much. He threw 3 of the cards away, though if he now draws a secret, then it's even better. Mana Worm on 1, coin, Kirintor Mage secret on for turn 2 is looking good as well.
Also as well, you don't often need Glyph on turn 2. You would much rather have an Arcanologist or even just a playable minion or even more removal, but the Glyph not really needed, but now...
Oh, come on!
It's a tough call though. You don't necessarily just go straight for Mana Worm, coin Mana Worm, which would be very aggressive, but the lack of follow-up like Ping as a turn 2 just isn't really what you're after.
Look, Raven, I'm just frustrated. I tried to present the argument that maybe the Hunter is still the favourite here, and then this happens.
Right, I think for Hunter to be declared favourite, they have to hit many, many things.
Agon play dead is a good start.
Is it? Like,
not against Mana Worms.
No, but it's 1/5/5 against a deck that's more bothered about going face, and also has secrets like Counterspell, like Ruins is going to be a very interesting interaction to see how the players deal with explosive runes. But Counterspell, well, the only few spells you have are actually highly impactful when you look at cards like Play Dead, like Tracking, these things that get you ahead in the game.
No, you're right. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult than I've been anticipating even without these Mana Worms, but we do have to factor these Mana Worms in this game, and it is looking rather absurd from Brazil. However, now that Greece have also picked up the Terror Scale, even if there is a secret put down on turn 3, they can guarantee the first 5/5, and then the egg will just sit there absorbing cards like Arcane Missiles, like Cinderstorm as this game progresses.
Yeah, one worry here with the bow is like, normally the choice is fairly straightforward in an instance like this when you can only hero power on turn 2 anyway. But if you do weapon into the 1/3, are you swinging 3 times into that thing? I don't know. And it gets really, really, really tough choice. Now, again, awkward that there's no Mana Worm coin play that you can put out.
This is a pretty interesting turn because, again, I've mentioned Cinderstorm several times because it may be difficult to play and hit the face consistently in this matchup, but this is an opportunity to do that with the coin.
I actually think just coin Kirintor is probably the best play all around here because what that does is, at the end of the day, it puts a 4/3 on the board. They've already swung the Candle Shot into the Mana Worm. You buff the Mana Worm with the coin anyway, do a little bit more damage, and you have a 4/3. Guess what? 5/5 from Egg isn't that scary when you've got a 4-attack minion and Ping.
Gonna go with the Kirintor Mage, as you said.
We have many
the logic to this is obvious as well. I mean, amongst everything you were saying, it's an extra body on the board, right? That's always good to have. And it's more damage immediately from this. It just means that Cinderstorm may be sitting dead in Brazil's hand for the rest of the game, but maybe that just doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, now you need to start. This is the issue with Hunter, right? They play the egg on 3, great, absolutely fantastic. What you want to do? They're going to take 6 this turn minimum. And that is very, very scary.
That counterspell drawn a turn too late. This would have been beyond perfect for Lucas if that was played for free with the Kirintor.
No 2-drop again. Really frustrating for Team Brazil here as they can't Mana Worm and do something. They couldn't just make a play last turn with the Mana Worm already on board, apart from that coin play. You know, they couldn't coin out with the 2 Mana Worms turn 1 and then have a 2-drop to actually follow it up with. It's just, I really wish they had a card that had 2 mana right now.
I'm finding the Candle Shot really amusing at the moment, by the way, Raven, because you said, are they really going to hit this Mana Worm 3 times? And yeah, yeah, they are. And it's going to work.
But that's worked out even better. One, they've just saved a lot of damage. Of course, they've saved, what, like 3 damage? They would be on 25 right now if the Candle Shot didn't have its immunity ability. Yep. But also as well, it's just because there's been no strong follow-up. The 4-3 is good, but it's not 1-drop coin, 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop. Yeah, and that's insane. I do like the secret, though. More damage, and also now the question of what do you play?
Yeah. Is it runes? Is it counterspell? I guess Greece just play around both and just drop the play dead and drop the Terror Scale. Guarantees at least 1 5/5 on the board, if not 2,
right,
if it is runes. The Candle Shot is always going into the Mana Worm here just to finish the job that was started 2 turns earlier.
I wonder.
Also, good to note that the Pyroblast is in hand, so although that's obviously not what you want as Team Brazil right now, it is something you can count backwards to, right? If you can just do 10 damage on turn 10, you can build your plan around that once we get to the, you know, the mid game and then the slight late game in this matchup, if it even goes that far.
Greece were hovering over the Firefly there as if they were tempted to try and bait out the runes from that and then go on and play the Terror Scale, but ends up just taking a risk, putting the 3-3 down, getting rewarded.
Well, now they just can't play the Firefly,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they just forget about play dead. They know that that's counterspell. Just go for as much tempo as possible, and it's definitely paid off.
And this is where the big questions start getting asked.
What's the big question
of Team
Raven?
Brazil? Well, at what point do you think you have to go face? At what point do you think you can keep playing for the board?
Okay.
There's Mana Worm, Cinderstorm, which is...
Storm does nothing.
It's unlikely it procs the egg, but also unlikely it does much else apart from potentially just hit the 5/5 once, and then you can get the trade. You could even preemptively trade into it to make it... not that that changes anything, right? You might save 1 damage, but the extra damage probably doesn't do much.
Again, I don't want to be too results orientated here, but if the Cinderstorm was played on that turn where the Kirintor Mage was played, the following turn a secret was drawn, so the Kirintor Mage would have been able to be played for free with the counterspell that was played anyway, and Deathlord would have taken 5 more damage from that Cinderstorm, which he just won't be taking. So
time runs out on me.
That is potentially a factor in changing the course of how this game has gone.
Yeah, well, one thing I'd say though, if you play the Kirintor afterwards, then, well, he just took 4.
That's true.
So the Kirintor wouldn't do 4 damage, it would just die.
Yeah, that's true.
So then you gain, it's like a gain of net 1 damage.
Yeah.
And Cinderstorm is still useful though. Like, you know, this egg doesn't necessarily ever get played.
The Cinderstorm is useful, but it's quite risky.
You can negate a lot of that risk though, right?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just unlikely that it's really going to make any contact with the face this game. Now, Greece know that that secret is a counterspell. How do they apply as much pressure as possible to the board? I guess they just cube the egg.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing right now. They know play dead does absolutely nothing. A cube 1 is just a 4/6 in itself anyway. Generates an additional 5/5, and even if that was ruins, it wouldn't really be the end of the world, but even though they know it's not. But this is still just a fine play because you get 2 eggs on the board, 2 5/5s. And yeah, they have to flip the board right now because although it looks bad on paper for Brazil, they still just have Fireball, Cinderstorm, and X off the top, right? And this is where you see the trades, right? You have to just remove as much of this board as possible. But now this is what I was talking about.
Now
Cinderstorm's pretty sweet.
Good, yeah, can't deny this.
Cinderstorm isn't always bad. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Wow. Three of the minions now put into, well, 2 destroyed, 1 put into ping range.
Bear in mind, this play dead's still getting nothing done because the counter spell.
Yep.
There isn't that many spells in the deck, to be completely honest. And also, yeah, the cube's annoying. It's going to hit you for 4. You're going to take, what, 10 next turn? You're on 27. It's a long time, and you have got Fireball. I do like this attack to face with the Mana Worm. There's no late game for Brazil right now. They just have to go face.
Yeah, and on Greece's side of things, there aren't that many ways of restoring health or preventing any of this burn damage. Deathlord honestly needs to pick up Deathstalker Rexar as soon as he possibly can, because then he can start to get these lifesteal minions with Rush. Even Life Drinker restores a little bit of health. Plated Beetle is some armor. These are the cards that Deathlord needs, so he needs Rexar.
I think it's more likely that Kathrena actually wins him the game, to be honest.
Oh, with King Crush?
Or anything, to be honest. Like, it gets to the point where you have, what, 2 to 3 turns, roughly now? If you imagine a semi-worst case scenario. But look at this board, there's so much power here. There's what, 8, there's 9, there's 14 damage.
When did you last see someone cube a Firefly, Raven?
About 5 seconds ago.
Okay.
But look, like this is just a lot of damage. This sets up like 2-turn lethal, effectively.
It does. I'm just thinking about the backswing. I mean, Lucas can fireball ping the face. That's 7. There is no second fireball. In theory, there's no lethal now until turn 10 with a Pyroblast, and he would be dead by then. But there are a lot of draws in this deck that would generate the damage required to win.
Well, just fireball, right?
Fireball. Oh yeah, I guess he wouldn't have the turn.
He has 2 turns.
Yeah.
He has this turn, next turn, and that's what you're doing with the with the minions, right? Like, you go wide enough that worst case, if you know, even if a minion gets, say the 5/2 gets killed, which isn't a stretch. Well, okay, the next turn you set it up, and then worst case you have Katrina is potentially even a runes goes down and props Katrina twice.
All right, so Lucas gonna try and kill the dinosaur. He does it. Wow.
Pretty good.
Plain and simple with the arcane missiles.
Runes is nice, a turn before Katrina's available.
Sort of, though it will guarantee... If Grease decides not to play any minions this turn, Katrina comes down next turn and gets 2 procs immediately. That's almost a guaranteed King Crush. A very high chance of a King Crush.
There's
anyway.
5 minions, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, but the thing is, though, by setting up the runes now, well, if your opponent just doesn't play a minion, then it's more likely that you have lethal anyway, because you can set up this turn, the fireball's still there.
Right.
If they do play a minion, great, you're even closer.
Yeah.
And then Katrina has to get the King Crush in time because you've done this extra damage.
Is there anything that Grease can consider Stitched Tracker to pick them up?
I don't think Grease can take 4 damage.
No, I don't think they can. Sorcerer's Apprentice doesn't really progress Brazil's win condition at all.
Well, it's just going to come down to the last turn for both these players, to be honest. The worst draw is going to be King. Does it matter? 8, 9. No, it doesn't matter.
I wonder.
Oh, it does. Yeah, the worst draw they can have now for Deathlord is King Crush next turn.
Yep. As that would reduce the chances of Kathrina summoning King Crush to 0. However, without drawing the King Crush, again, 2 chances out of... You said there are 5 beasts in the deck?
I believe so, unless I'm going crazy.
I don't believe any of them had been drawn yet.
No.
There's not been a Grizzly.
Oh no, there's only 1 Grizzly. So 4.
1 Grizzly, 2 High Main, 1 King Crush. All right, so it's...
25%, then go up to 50.
Yeah, 50, it's just 50-50, isn't it? 2 out of the 4
Yeah,
main
25% the first one, 50 because the runes. But yeah, there's not a lot either of these teams can do at this point. They've played the game up until they can play it till. This Pyroblast has been dead all game and we are not getting to turn 10. There's Devil's Story Egg.
Not many times we've had to say this before, but it all comes down to a 50-50 King Crush. Here's the first one.
Whiff.
No. All right. That's a whiff as well.
Doesn't mean they've won though.
Doesn't. It doesn't.
Because Brazil still need to draw an out, which is only Fireball right now. Or a... Oh, that's not enough. It could have been the... Oh my god, I'm forgetting the card name even though we've talked... Cinderstorm. Cinderstorm with 5...